Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're in the Asset Viewer and it's time to have a look at the War Thunder CDK and the vehicles coming into the game for the Battlefield Engineers event or Engineer event. All of them have been added to at least the dev server for now, and to me, since the full models are here, there are a few issues there seems to be with a few damaged models, especially with the I-180, but the main thing is all of the models are at least in most parts ready and raring to go, which to me indicates that the event is going to start incredibly soon. My guess would be in the next few days. So get yourself ready, and in this video we're going to have a look at the vehicles themselves. As I said, all 6 of them are in the CDK, so therefore let's have a look. We'll start off with the crowd favorite. This is the McCarver coming to the US tree in rank 6. This is not going to be a premium vehicle. This is going to be a gift vehicle, so no premium status for the Americans. Now, one thing I do want to mention is I'm not on my home computer right now. The mic quality might be a little bit off, and also the video quality might be a little bit off since I'm using different settings and using a different computer. So here we go with the McCarver. The first thing to say is obviously on top it does have quite a few machine guns. You got the 105 stabilized in the middle, and as I said before, look at the angle which is on the upper glacis of this thing. If this thing does not ricochet a lot of shells, I'll be incredibly surprised. But then again, if you have a look at the turret, it has the wonderful angles on the top, meaning that you will, ricochet a lot of rounds off of it. But when we look here, you can see that there is definitely trap shot ability when it comes to the bottom of the turret. But the turret itself, if we compare it to the rest of the vehicle, is incredibly small. It's very narrow, and you can see how wide and long this vehicle is, whereas the turret itself is kind of small in comparison. If we look from a top-down view, you can see that the actual fighting compartment, so of the McCarver's turret, is quite small compared to the rest of the vehicle, and that is because of its other abilities, being able to carry troops, so on and so forth. So let's have a look at the inside of it. This is what the inside of the McCarver looks like right now. You can see you have the driver, then you've got the 3-man crew here. You've got the gunner, the commander, and also the loader, all sat in this position with a large breach around them. And as I said, you can see how small the fighting compartment actually is of the turret, and there is a lot of either spaced armor here or composite armor. My guess would be spaced armor, but once again, don't quote me on that. Here is that massive engine and transmission in the front of it, taking up the majority of the front, meaning that if you shoot it in the upper glacis, the transmission and the engine is just going to eat it. It looks like, for me, as I said before, the kill shot of this McCarver is going to be in that turret ring or around that turret ring. This tank is going to have great survivability. Just looking at the the skeleton on it, it also has a bunch of what I'm guessing once again is spaced armor on the booty. Looks like they've foregoed the crew compartment for ammunition, as has been said many times, and I should have mentioned it in the video, but I apologize for not doing it. The crew compartment in the back, which can house infantry members, which, basically where this ammo is, that is where the crew can sit. So if you want to have infantry in it, you need to make sure to not have that ammo there, because, laws of physics. So with this said, it looks like we're getting rid of the infantry component of the McCarver in favor of some more ammunition. So a side shot, if you want to try and take it out, I mean, shooting right in the center of where the turret is probably the way to go. Or, trying to shoot that ammo at the back, trying to set it off is another way. The model is incredibly well detailed. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I can understand why a lot of people want to see it in the game and want to get it in the game, since it is the first true Israeli vehicle that we are getting. The machine gun placement as well is kind of interesting, with the center mounted 50 cal, something which at least for me You don't really see that often, where it's literally right above the breech, so straight damn slam in the middle with the other machine guns on the side. But yeah, I think this is actually going to be a really tough nut to crack from the front, unless you are able to hit that turret ring, which is definitely possible. The next one is the MPK 122 bis. Now this is, of course, the ship that is coming to the game, the Soviet ship, which I believe is going to have premium. I don't think it was talked about in the dev blog, but I'm pretty sure it is going to have premium. It has the 85 on the front, it has 2 machine guns sat here, then it has some machine guns sat here, and then of course the 37s on the back, which from BMO fame are incredibly potent. Then of course it has some launchers on the back here, and one of the key things that is mentioned in the dev blog, is there a gun up here as well? No, there isn't a gun up here, but a lovely steering area. The machine itself, it talks about the bomb mortars being incredibly potent, even though for me personally I've never seen them used in a good way. Well, here you go. This is where they're mounted right on the front. Looks like they're at a slight angle right to left, so shooting forward may not be exactly easy to do. It's a beautiful machine. Once again, all of these models are absolutely stunning. So let's have a look at the x-ray of it to see what's actually inside of this. So the first thing is the engines. The engines, I feel, are comparatively small compared to the rest of the vehicle. Also, along with what is classed as the transmissions, and there you go. You can see the depth charges on the back. There's also a depth charge launcher, then the 37s, the machine guns, and then, of course, good old Captain sat at the helm. There's also a bridge here, and what looks like a radio area as well on the bottom, and a ton of ammunition on the front, which also includes more bomb mortars, or more, bombs at the bottom. So my guess is the way to take this ship out is to shoot the front of it. Try and annihilate that ammo rack, that juicy ammo rack we see on the front there, and once that ignites, well, the whole thing's going to go pop. This isn't a huge ship, so my guess is personally there won't be a massive amount of crew on it, but it definitely has a hell of a lot of firepower. As I said before, the main thing about it is if this thing goes against destroyers, then it'll probably have a bad day. But if it's in that BR range of around 3.3 maybe, and it's able to fight machines which are not as potent as a destroyer, I think it can do really well. It's definitely got that chutzpah about it. And once again, the model is of course beautiful. Next machine is the Gnome. So I thought I'd just add this in because there's something wonderful about the asset viewer. There's a lot of funny things in it because obviously it has all of the stuff from the game. So there's a lot of decorations and stuff from, back in the day. And this is the Gnome Char. So I thought I would show you him too, just to give you an idea of, the interesting things. The next one is the the JU388J. I think I'm always going to struggle to say that. And once again, the problem with this so far, or at least what I can tell, I could be wrong about this, there's no skeleton. There is a skeleton. It's literally right here. Oops, sorry about that. Let's just go out. But the skeleton, of course, looks like this, since it is a plane. So there isn't what seems to be any damage models or camouflages or anything like that. We just have the base model of the aircraft right now. And you can see the potent 30s and 20s, which seem to be at a bit of an angle down. And I don't... If it's supposed to be like that, aiming this thing might be a little bit harder than, what it's supposed to be. It might just be me looking at it wrong, but if I, go to here, right, the front of it, and just look generally down, you can see that they seem to be angled down. So I don't know whether that's going to affect it, or whether, it's supposed to be like that, but it just seems a bit odd. The radar, of course, looking beautiful on the front, with the massive engines and the huge areas back here. And then you've got the general, 188 design that we can see, and then, of course the shroud music 20mm that are located in the center of the fuselage, and then of course the 13, I believe they're 13mm at the back in the vertical position. So everything on this aircraft looks absolutely wonderful once again. It'd be kind of interesting to see if there's a damage model. Obviously on this there is no well, at least there seems to be no HD cockpit for it yet. I don't know whether there is going to be one, but at least right now I can't find one. It's as simple as that. I'm still new to this, you know, data mining, asset viewer stuff, so if I do miss some things, you know, that is why. But overall, this 388 looks beautiful. I can't wait to give it a go. I want to try and find it and see if it's available in dynamic campaigns, just to try and get a feel of it before we actually get it fully, you know, in the game. But it's lovely to see in the files. The I-180 is the next vehicle that we're going to have a look at, and what surprised me about this is, once again, no DM, or at least it doesn't seem to be one. What surprised me is how wide the wings were. Now, I understand that the whole point of the project was to try and evolve the I-16 into a more modernized aircraft by the end of the 30s, but I didn't realize how far they actually went. You can see how much they've elongated the fuselage, how they've made the wings a hell of a lot bigger than they are. So this aircraft is going to handle a hell of a lot differently to an I-16, but I still think it will have good maneuverability in it because of the large engine and because of the general airframe. It's also got the machine guns all mounted above the engine, it seems, so nothing in the center of the engine or nothing below. Everything is above, which is, you know, definitely interesting. And once again, the cockpit itself is not a HD cockpit. This is just a standard definition cockpit, so cockpit placeholder right now. Maybe at some point we'll be able to have in our hands a machine which, you know, actually has a HD cockpit. Looking at it now and everything that I've read about it, I really hope we don't have another another really good rank 1 Soviet gift vehicle, but I'm not holding out hope. I think this thing is going to be really good at its BR because it seems to have all of the little keys that it needs to be, you know, good. A lot of ammunition, really good guns. A lot of people look down on the Shabaks. Well, these are Shikasses. Very high velocity machine guns, and will easily be good enough at lower tiers to do well. Should have a decent bit of speed behind it and keep the maneuverability maybe a bit less than something like an I-16, but overall should be good. I am really looking forward to this one. I know this is probably low down on a lot of people's radar, but for me this is the hidden gem of the stuff that we're getting in this update. So the next one is of course the Cruiser, or the Cruiser Tiger as it's known, right here. Here is the Cruiser Tiger. Big old Bertha, as you can see, and god damn, it's massive, isn't it? So you've got the big Kahoogas on the front, then of course you have the guns backing it up, all semi-automatic, meaning that, what was it? It was a lot of rounds a minute, and this was like 90 rounds a minute, and I think this was like 60, maybe a bit less. Whatever it is, these are fast-firing large guns. Then, when we have a look back here, we have some more gun platforms, the smaller guns once again, the low caliber, dual sets of them, and then the big kahunas once again on the back. So if you can get, you know, 2, 4, 6, 8 guns, or 7 guns, sorry, because this, oh no, sorry, 8 guns, all firing at one enemy at once, I think you could put out a lot of hurt on said enemy in a very large way. When it comes to everything else though, you know, if a plane's coming in, a lot of people have talked about how, you know, these are multi-purpose guns. Well, yes, but if there's a lot of stuff going on at the same time, you know, there's a lot of like cruisers around, I feel like you're going to want more than 4 guns to be able to deal with them. You want to get your secondaries firing at those, you know, light cruisers as well. So it may have a few issues when it comes to that stuff. What's nice about the Anim pack, which we see on the CDK, you can see right here that it has a little bit of animation. So look at that, isn't that beautiful? You know, it's just piddling about there, showing what will happen in the actual match itself. It's full of what look like lifeboats, quite a lot of them actually. You can see that they've just kind of tossed them here. You've got, what, 2, 4, 6 lifeboats, and you've got a few more here. The crew on this should be quite large. I don't think it'll be the largest that we have in the game, but it's definitely going to be up there. And of course, some more moving parts, which is once again lovely to see. And the bridge itself is very large, and it's time to have a look at the skeleton. Let's have a look. That is the wrong thing. Let's go to UK ships. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. So we have what seems to be either an engine. I think that is an engine, actually. I might be wrong about that. Let's just have a look on the actual model itself. Here we go. Yeah, it does look like it's some form of propulsion system on the back. Very similar to what we saw from the Soviet ship that's getting put into the game. Then you can see the smokestacks in the center. What is interesting is it's not just one large smokestack. You actually have one which connects to a lot of individual ones as well. So it's not just modeled as one big thing. It's modeled as some smaller ones as well. You can see, you can see the engines in the center there. There's a hell of a lot of them, and also a lot of propulsion. So for me, when I look at this machine, what I see is a massive amount of engine power in the center, or at least a massive amount of engines. The only issue is that it's really centered around one area. Now, there should be around 80 to 90 millimeters of armor on it, but against light cruisers, that ain't really going to matter too much. So making this thing stall by annihilating its center should be quite easy to do. You know, it really shouldn't be that hard. Then, of course, you have the big ammo dump on the front, which is looks absolutely stunning with this, as you can see, circular ammunition system. But it does also look like a beautiful target, doesn't it? It looks like something that is ready to pop. And then, unfortunately, we have a ladder into nowhere, but we do have the bridge, and what also looks like some form of radio station, at least on the top here, as you can see, all wonderfully modeled. And so you can see the amount of detail on that central part is just beautiful. Like, it looks just absolutely stunning. There's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of really nice work, and to get this as an event vehicle, I think we're kind of getting a little bit spoiled. You know, I'd rather see this in the standard tech tree, but then again, there is other versions of the Tiger class which we could get in the standard tech tree. No anti-ship missiles, which makes sense. You know, they're not in the game yet. There are some in the files, but I think it would be a bad idea to give a machine like this the capabilities of anti-ship missiles and nothing else, right? You need a counter to it instead of just being able to throw them on something. So yeah, they don't seem to be modeled, but the later versions of the Tiger cruiser, because I'm guessing this is one of the earlier versions of it, could have it in the future. The last but not least, now this was an annoying one to find because it's actually got a different name in the files compared to what it did on the dev blog. So this is the JER VSW Flak 41, or as we know it, the Toaster. Now, the Toaster, as you can see, is one of those machines which has quite a lot of decoration on it on the sides. You can see that people have their kits, their helmets, and their guns. And also, on the inside, we have not a ton of space. I thought there would be a lot more space, but then again, you know, it's actually, the idea is you're supposed to open it up. So, you know, the space, I suppose, isn't that much of an issue. It does have two layers, though. You know, you have this layer, and that is because it is actually showing both positions at once. So if you didn't know, the VSW, as it's labeled in the file, or the Flak 88 might be a better way of describing it, it has two positions. It's got the down position, then it's got the up position. Now, the up position obviously gives you a little bit more armor, but it limits the gun. The down position gets rid of the armor, but it means that you can 360 with the gun, or at least that's what it seems to be. So the bottom parts here is when it's down, the top parts is when it's up. What is interesting is the fact that we actually lose some combat, combat supplies. When it's up, we only have 4 of the helmets and guns and everything else, but when it's down, we have 8, which is just one of those odd things. But you can see the back here as well. It does look absolutely beautiful. You know, the 88 looks great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this machine in game. It even has some wonderful gauges here as well, and of course, look at that breach. It's going to be lovely seeing how that works in the game. On top of this, if we have a look at the X-ray, this is what the inside looks like. So all the ammunition seems to be at the bottom of the vehicle. On top of it, the engine is at the back, or at least very low on the back. And then you've got the mechanisms to be able to steer the gun itself. And also you have what is the transmission in the front. So you got the transmission in the front, body in the back, and the ammo at the bottom. So hitting the ammunition on this, I think is actually going to be quite hard. You know, it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. And the reason for this is because this is all of its damage components. But the reason for this is just because of its layout, right? So one thing, can we see... no, not that one. Is it this one maybe? I'm trying to see if we can see the crew, because obviously it would be nice to see the crew. No, it looks like we don't have the crew yet. But my guess is that you have 2 people in the front, and then maybe 6, or no, sorry, not 6, but maybe like 4 in the back, 2 loaders, a commander and a gunner. That, to me, at least makes sense. I mean, the thing is, because of the amount of helmets and stuff, it might change, you know, depending on if you have it down or up. That is why in battle, you won't be able to change it. You can only do it pre-battle. That would actually make sense, you know. But from the front part, you know, you have... whoops, what's going on here? Oh, hello. You have the driver's position, which is through the floor. But you have the driver's position, which is around there. You've got a lad next to him, and then you've got area around. Let's see how many seats there are. Obviously, there's the gunner, then the 2 aimers, let's call them. So you have the 2 aimers, then you'll have the loaders. It's my guess is there'll be a crew of 6, right? I might be wrong about this. It might be slightly different. We obviously can't tell, but it is, you know, nice to think about, at least in that way. I am very much looking forward to this vehicle. The only vehicle I'm personally not really looking forward to is, you know, the 122 BIS. Everything else I am massively interested in from this Battlefield Engineer event. And after seeing the stuff in the files and after thinking about, you know, what place they can have in game, and hopefully in the next few days we'll have some user missions so I can have a look at them for you, I am pumped, I think is the best way to put it. This event, if it's anything like the i7 event, obviously it will be a grind, and we can do it together as a community, just like we did last time on the Tech Hub Discord. And, you know, if you need help with the grind, or if you need help, you know, with anything, make sure to head over there. There is a link in the description for you, and we'll make sure to facilitate. But anyway, that is all of these vehicles when it comes to the Battlefield Engineering event. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank B. Young, Blackie, Dyslexic Child, Martinez, Moxie, Nito, Nick Graham, Alobralo, and Super Cacti for supporting me on Patreon.